Let's talk about stalkers and who is actually truly, invariably, verifiably, and permanently mentally disturbed. Stalkers. Everyone else knows how to stay in their own lane. Stalkers don't. And stalking is the number one sign that someone is mentally disturbed. I'm not talking about people who, are trying to reconnect with an old friend or wondering how their ex from 15 years are doing, 15 years ago. That's all legitimate stuff. I'm not talking about Googling Tom Brady or finding out who that hot grandson of Princess Grace is. I've done that. Princess Grace has some hot grandsons, and they're European royalty, and I just find that stuff fascinating. Have I Googled some of Princess Grace's gorgeous grandsons? Yes, I have. Am I sending them emails and finding out what their phone number is and trying to track down their locations using GPS perving, creeping, stalking devices? No. But that kind of thing has been done to me a lot by the psycho trash that the Greenville group choose to cram in large numbers in this building complex. Almost entirely all male sex offenders who have no lives, no wives, no careers. They spend their rejected, wanking, perving, creeping, psycho trash lives stalking women who think that they're absolutely disgusting and who they will never actually have anything to do with. That's too bad for them. I'm also including the fat, hideous, perving, creeping psycho pig in there, the psychopath, the compulsively vomiting homicidal psychopath named Jasmine Irizarry, who's a revolting piece of shit that is apparently the surveillance expert for the Greenville group's illegal surveillance devices in my bathroom. It's one thing to place surveillance devices, for instance, in someone's office. If you want to find out like who their clients are and you want to steal their clients or, what their trade secrets are. There's a lot of corporate espionage going on in boardrooms and offices and high-rise buildings of companies and businesses all over the world. That's why bug sweeping services and anti-surveillance companies make a lot of money, because people will pay a lot of money to protect their financial information, to keep their professional trade secrets a secret, to make sure that their research findings are not being stolen, et cetera, et cetera. However, when your crooked Russian slumlord real estate company takes it upon themselves to unlawfully use surveillance devices in your living space and in your bathroom, that is psycho trash, third world shithole scum on a whole other level. That's not what America is about. You don't place surveillance devices in the bathrooms of private female citizens for any legitimate reason. None. And if you're doing that, you're a perving, creeping piece of psycho trash, shithole scum who should go jump off a cliff. These are people with some serious mental health issues. Anyone who places surveillance devices in the private bathroom of a private female citizen who is not any kind of a celebrity or a sports figure or a political activist or anything along those lines has some serious mental health issues and is a sex offender who should go kill themselves. I'm a big fan of sex offenders killing themselves because they can't stop wanking, perving, and creeping. They spend their entire lives wanking, perving, and creeping, and they're usually indiscriminate in their wanking, perving, and creeping. They don't care if you're 80 years old or if you're 10 years old. They will wank, perv, and creep and masturbate all over roadkill if it has boobs and a skirt, or in the case of, people who prefer men, if it looks like it might have a male appendage, right? I think sex offenders should do the planet a favor, get on a spaceship, and leave the planet. All of them. Pedophiles especially, starting with the pedophiles. It's ironic because the hate stalking, perving, creeping pedophiles in this building, such as Jason DaCosta, Jasmine Irizarry, and a whole bunch of others, and I'm mentioning those two because they have been literally masturbating against the walls to my unit and to my bathroom for years. So I know that they're sex offenders, and they have a thing for the children in my family, because whenever I have been talking to my young nieces or nephews on the phone, or mentioning my young nieces or nephews in phone conversations, or even just sending emails, DaCosta and Irizarry have collectively gotten violent and agitated and super intrusive against the walls that my unit have shared with Unit 88 next door and Unit 78 behind my bathroom. These are mentally disturbed, seriously beyond redemption pieces of perving, creeping, masturbating filth who I think are beyond any kind of help. And they're dangerous. They are predatory, mentally disturbed, obsessive, compulsive sex offenders. I would know because DaCosta came to my door on multiple occasions and tried to break it down, claiming he could hear me talking to him, when both times that he did that, I was actually in my bathroom with the door closed. And then the other time, I was in my bathroom with the door closed showering. And then the other time he tried to break my door down, I was standing at my sink talking to my phone. There's also 2 inches of soundproofing foam separating my unit from his unit, insulating the entire wall from top to bottom and left to right. The one wall that my unit shares with DaCosta's unit is so soundproofed that even when DaCosta is blasting his porn movies throughout the entire floor, and you can literally hear the screaming and moaning at the back of the floor, I cannot hear it through my wall. I can simply hear noise. I can hear something that sounds like thunder. That is how effective the soundproofing is, separating my unit from the perving, creeping child molester Jason DaCosta's unit. Mr. DaCosta has a thing for young girls, specifically my young nieces, about whose hair style and boob size he was shouting outside of my door. My nieces are barely 13. So Mr. DaCosta should go jump off a cliff, because he is so mentally disturbed that children are not even off limits to pieces of shit like him. Same thing with Irizarry. Every time I took a screenshot of any kind of movie or TV show that I was watching that might have had a child in it, Irizarry started getting violent and aggressive against the wall behind my kitchen sink, which is the bathroom of 78, where that perving, wanking piece of trash spent most of the last 11 years wanking, perving, and creeping using the surveillance devices that multiple staffers at the Greenville Group have bragged that she is so talented. She's a surveillance expert. And Mr. Eliseyev, her handler and apparently close personal friend, maybe Mr. Eliseyev is a sex offender too, since he seems to defend them and house them in large numbers in this building. He maybe has a thing for sex offenders himself. Irizarry, being the surveillance expert, probably is behind all of the doxing of who my family members are to the sex offenders in this building. So that's on them. There's absolutely nothing that I've ever done in my personal or professional life that would justify the Greenville Group's use of surveillance devices in my bathroom. Again, it's one thing to place surveillance devices in someone's office, or maybe like a corporate lab where you're trying to figure out like what they're coming up with and maybe steal their trade secret. But putting it in someone's private bathroom when it's a female living in a building that is mostly housed, where the management company houses mostly mentally disturbed, violent, aggressive sex offenders, that is beyond diabolical, twisted, and sick. And guess what? The joke is on them. I think they think that the joke is on me because everybody gets to watch what I do in my bathroom. At least that's what probably 24 tenants have told me now, bragging that they get to see. Those were the exact words they said. I get to see what you do in there, you crazy bitch. Well, the joke is on you, because if you're perving and creeping all over somebody who thinks you're disgusting, you've already lost. You lost so long ago, you probably lost when you were born. If you have to use surveillance devices to try to think that you can possibly have anything to do with anyone, you lost when you were born. Filth. So go kill yourselves, really. When people are so mentally disturbed and malignantly perverted that they will place surveillance devices not just in your bathroom, but around your toilet and in your shower drain. So they can literally see right up your skirt. If you're wearing a skirt, if you're not, they can just see everything. Then they should go kill themselves. Really. That is how sick, twisted, disgusting, and filthy Greenville's mentally disturbed population of perving, creeping, psycho trash are. And they're not afraid to brag about it. They seem to be proud of that. And they're too low IQ, mentally disturbed, retarded to realize the joke is on them. See, I'm just who I am. I look what I look like, and I live my life. I do not ever interact with these pieces of filth. Do I ever go near these disgusting rejects? Absolutely not. But they try to come at me, and that's embarrassing for them because I think they're revolting, and I move in the other direction. And then when they keep following me and coming at me, then I call the police and I file police reports. So these rejects will never have anything to do with me. So again, the joke is on them. They spend their entire wasted psycho trash lives perving and creeping all over women who do everything they can to not have anything to do with them, and they keep trying and trying and trying. And the joke is on them because really at the end of the day, they're nothing but wanking, masturbating pieces of psycho trash that are going to spend the rest of their ugly psycho trash lives whacking off to an empty room. And that's all that they deserve to have is an empty room. Because when you try to hijack women by placing surveillance devices in their bathroom and then brag about it verbally, and I'm also talking about Greenville staffers who said, oh yeah, there's surveillance devices in there, but I don't have access to the footage. And, one of their female office staff said, well, it's not audio, it's video. And if you're not happy with that, you can just go talk to the police. That was Felicita Rodriguez back in 2017 or 2018. And I remember scratching my head going, does she realize how illegal this is? And if they've somehow gotten permission from law enforcement to use surveillance devices in my bathroom, then law enforcement is corrupt because, again, there is absolutely no legal reason whatsoever to place surveillance devices around someone's toilet. Like what? Do you think I'm a drug mule and I'm going to start pulling drugs out of my ass? Fucking wankers. That's how corrupt the Boston Police Department is. It's disgusting and filthy. I hope Donald Trump cleans up house in the Boston Police Department, just like he's been cleaning house with the ICE raids all over Boston. It's funny how he started doing ICE raids in Boston. The first ICE raids of Trump's presidency took place like 36 hours after he was inaugurated, and they hauled in over 1,000 highly illegal, dangerous criminals from countries that literally emptied their jails into the southern border of the United States and sent a bunch of psycho trash psychopaths across the southern border. I don't have a problem with immigrants. My parents are immigrants. They came from Europe in the 60s and 70s. And I have no problem with anybody who respects this country's laws and comes here through the proper channels. We have an immigration system for a reason. And that reason is that we cannot have the entire planet coming into the United States. But that's exactly what keeps happening. We've had 10 million illegal border crossings into our country over the last year. 10 million. We cannot handle that. The infrastructure of the United States cannot handle illegal immigration on that level, on that scale, and at that rate for very long. It will destroy this country. We don't have enough hotels and bus stations to house all of these illegal immigrants. My parents are legal immigrants, and they came here the legal way, and that's perfectly fine. And so is anybody else who comes here legally and signs the paperwork and waits for the green card or whatever it is that you need to wait for. But drug dealers, drug cartel members, sex offenders, gang members, all pouring across the southern border and ending up in Boston because 1,001 of them were arrested by ICE 2 weeks ago and sent back. Well, that's a problem. And I think a number of them ended up in this building. The Greenville Group are corrupt criminal Russian slumlords who love sex offenders. And they love illegal sex offenders too. I'm pretty sure Irizarry might be one of them. Her criminal abilities and her impressive array of psychotic criminal tricks that she has in her bag of psycho trash tricks is pretty impressive. And I'm wondering if she got training from the drug cartels or some kind of criminal group. I mean, hacking, using surveillance devices that are so small, you literally, I mean, they look like dots. I found one in my bathroom in 2017, and I thought it was a tiny little dot of paint. And I realized, no, that's not a dot of paint. That looks like a lens. That's when I had perfect vision. So I could see the little eye-like lens on the inside of this black dot that was right across from my toilet in my bathroom. Then I realized, well, if it's a paint splatter, why is it black? And why are there no other paint splatters around it? I mean, it was the only paint splatter on that entire wall, and that's how I could see it. A little tiny, shiny black dot that was stuck to the wall and wouldn't come off. Weird, right? Then it disappeared after I told maintenance about it. But who knows if there's other ones like it throughout my unit. And that's the size of the surveillance devices that the psychopath Irizarry is apparently being sponsored by the Greenville Group to use in my bathroom. So the joke is on them, because they're spending a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money constantly doxing my bathroom activities to the perving, creeping, masturbating psycho trash that they like to cram in large numbers in this building. And at the end of the day, they're a bunch of wanking perverts with nothing but an empty room. These rejects will never have a girlfriend. They will never have anything with anyone, because if you're mentally disturbed enough to whack off to a phone screen in an empty room because some lady lives in your building and you get to see what she does in her bathroom, then you've already lost. You lost so long ago, you should go jump off a cliff. So the joke is on you, you psycho trash, you perving, creeping wankers. You will never, ever, ever have anything to do with me. I don't care what you look like. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many filthy, disgusting, mentally disturbed comments you make on the videos that I post. I don't read the comments, and I know exactly who the psycho hate stalkers are on my channel. And the minute I see a certain name, I just swipe to the right and don't even look. So you're wasting your time. All of this is a gigantic joke on the perving, creeping psycho trash that tries so hard to get at me. And they never will. Too bad. Keep wasting your time and whacking off to your empty rooms, you filthy scum. Because an empty room is all that pieces of shit like you will ever have. You're too mentally disturbed to realize that if you want something in life, you have to work for it. And stealing and hijacking women's activities in private bathrooms will ensure that you will spend the rest of your ugly, mentally disturbed psycho trash life whacking off to an empty room and a phone screen. And that's just sad. In the meantime, these women who you perv and creep all over and delusionally think that you know are living their lives. They're dating men that you will never come close to being like. They're having fun with their friends. They're spending time with their families. They're pursuing their careers, and they couldn't care less whether pieces of shit like you live or die. But you know what? You're so mentally disturbed that dying might be a good idea, and I suggest you do that. Sayonara.